Finally, let's learn how to do event listeners. Two ways. First way, directly attach in HTML. How do we do that? Well, you just go here, and in the attributes, you just type on. And there's a bunch of events you can add directly in HTML. You see on click, on double click, on drag, if you're doing drag and drop, right? So we're going to do on click. Now, we can directly write our function here. So if the user clicks this red box, can we just do console.log? I was clicked. Does that work? Let's open up the console. All right, 1, 2, 3, click. I was clicked. Cool, huh? Now, what if your function is more than just one line? Well, you can actually just do a semicolon. And then let's just do this a second time. I was clicked. Again, save it. They run. Now, technically, you can write your whole function like this. Lines separated by a semicolon. But that's going to look very, very messy, right? So we want to do that in JavaScript. Okay, so let's erase all of this. Instead of writing that, why don't we just give it a function name? So let's just call this function greetings. Now, this function has not been defined. So what happens if we click it? Greetings is not defined. Well, let's define it. In JavaScript, instead of test, let's do function greeting. And then we can do console.log. Hello. Okay, let's test it. Greetings is not defined. Whoops, I think I typed it wrong. Greetings. Greetings with the S. Yep, now it works. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, can you have two event listeners on here? Can we do another on click? On click. And then this one, let's just console.log. New click. Does this work? No, it doesn't work. So you can only have one of them, okay? Not two, just one. That's why you see that there's a blue line right here, actually. So let me erase that. All right, so that's the first way. Let's look at the second way. There's an event listener attached through JavaScript. Okay, for this, we're going to do the JS one. So how are we going to do that? Well, we first have to select the element, right, with the class JS. Const my tag is equal to document.query selector .js. And then what are we going to do? My tag dot add event listener. This is going to take in two arguments. The first one is the type of event listeners that we're listening for. Remember, those can be double click or anything else. We can do click. The second argument is a function that you want it to run. Okay. Now, a lot of people would just write an anonymous function here and then type it out. What I like to do is that I like to define my functions first and then just put it here to run it. Okay, so I will call this function JS greetings because it's from JavaScript, right? And then since we named it, I'm just going to put this right here. And then this is going to console.log greetings from JS. Now I want you to notice something. This is a function, but I am not calling it right here. Why is that? Well, because we do not want to call it yet. We only want to call it if the user clicks. So here we're just inserting the function definition. We do not want JavaScript to call it right away. Okay. All right, so let's save. If you click here, there's an event listener attached through JavaScript. You click the top one, it's from HTML. Now, if you do it in JavaScript, can you have two event listeners of the same type? Let's see. So let's do JS greeting number 2. And I'll just change this to greetings number 2. And then I'm going to add JS greetings number 2. Okay, so now this blue tag has two event listeners, both of type click. And look, they both run. So one advantage, if you do event listeners directly through JavaScript using add event listener, is that you can have more than one event listener of the same type on the same HTML tag. If you do it through HTML, you can only have one type. So you can only have one on-click. Yeah, you cannot have two on-clicks. And if you look on MDN yourself, it will tell you that for security-wise and for efficiency-wise, we should always use add event listeners. Okay. But like I said, if it's just a simple, small personal project, you can go ahead and do an on-click. It really doesn't matter, okay? All right, I hope that was helpful. Let's move on.